halted. Here's why. First of all, I think it puts the city at risk to move forward with the project when the project isn't free and clear from legal challenges. I think that's risky. Second of all, it feels like we're rushing into this project, and I think all of us can agree that within this community there's beginning to be a huge pushback and questioning of whether or not the city should even be entering into that type of investment right now in the surface water project and other infrastructure needs, so there's that issue. I think the community is really asking for a revisit and a reconsideration right now. I guess I'll leave it with that for now.
I mean, given if it comes up that the cost for stopping, I mean, this is your decision is cost-free.
Well, my father used to say, and I think my father was an exceedingly wise man, and very smart about the economy, and one of the things he always said to me, it's a really bad policy to chase good money after bad. And I think in this particular situation, my understanding is, you know, we have engineering that's completed, we have pipes that are in place, we've made investments to a certain point, but at some point, you know, you can move forward. It's not lost forever, but it's not. But my understanding from some very good reputable places is that it's just not something we absolutely have to move forward today. And I think there's new information that it should now be reconsidered that probably didn't exist when the city council initially chose to move forward with this project. I think the cryptosporidium and the legal landscape, which I think is what my understanding is what really tripped and pushed the town, the city to look at this to begin with. But we know from what's happened, the decisions that and the legal challenges in the city of Portland, that those requirements have been pushed into the future. So that was what I was referring to directly. I think and the other thing that I'll say too is there's a lot of conflicting information about this project, and I think my summary at the end is that it would be to everyone's advantage to back up, look at the entire playing field, look at all the statistics from start to finish, because at the end of the day, whether or not you may or may not agree that you need to have, you know, part of your city's water system come from surface water, and there's some there's some good reasons to keep it, there's some reasons where maybe we don't need to keep it, but ultimately the city of Bend, just to do what we do today, just to keep everybody watering, you know, on the hottest day of the year, we will have to have groundwater. In order to grow, the city of Bend is going to have to maintain and grow its, you know, and have the bulk of its water eventually in the future come from the ground. So we want to keep that because our future is in groundwater. It's not going to be in surface water. I mean, even if we took all the water out of that creek over time and totally took out tunnel irrigation and all the other water rights, and we had senior water rights, and we worked with DRC and did some magic, and I'm not saying that's even a possibility because I don't think it is, but I'm just saying creatively, you know, you want to look at all the pieces and look at recreating that, but that all aside, I think you have to, you know, we have the ability as a municipality to drill more wells. We have capacity today to cover if there's a disaster in the watershed. And I think if you have limited resources for this community, you know, you're trying to use every dollar as effectively as you can to move this town through the recession, that's not a smart place to be spending money today.
No, I'm not in favor of halting the project. There are several reasons for that. First of all, we've already done all of the review, and we've done it for several years now. We've been working on this project for a long, long time. We've had many, many plans. for me, there's three parts to the issue. There is the filtration project, the hydroelectric project, as well as the replacement of the pipes and the intake. We've already put a halt on the hydroelectric, so that's not going to take place. It may happen down the line. We've already got our own legal reviews on the cryptosporidium issue. So we'll be looking at the filtration project again. So that is already on hold as well. So what is there to halt except for what we're doing at this point? And the reason that we are going ahead with the project is because the county is going to be redoing Skyliner Road. It's a huge project. We will not be allowed to dig that road up if the project goes through, if the piping goes through. It'll be 5 years before we're able to do that. So if we don't put the pipe underneath that road now, this winter, then it'll be pushed off 5 years.
Has anybody asked the county whether or not they're willing to?
They're not.
I spoke to Chris Doty yesterday and he said they were.
Well, as far as I know, they weren't.
And I spoke to Tom Eckman who said no one had asked recently.
Well, that's new information for me, so I'm still not in favor of stopping it. We're so far into this. I mean, we've been doing this for years, but that was what.
I think that's where you get into the question of why would you proceed if there's the possibility that you can delay until these legal questions are answered.
You're hitting me with new information, so I don't think that's fair for you to be asking me that in this format without me knowing that.
That's fair.
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's not okay.
I mean, I think the larger question is whether or not the council is still collecting all the information it needs to assess this risk effectively. You know, it's really expensive to start the laying of the pipe and then stop the project if an injunction is granted or whatever. So why isn't anyone asking, you know, that question of, can we delay? Is there any way we
Because I
can?
don't feel like we need to.
Okay, why is that? I mean, if it's so expensive, what do you mean you don't need to?
Why would we want to? If we're going to be going ahead with the project, I don't see this legal injunction. I've not heard that word used. We're talking about what Paul Dewey's thing with LCDC. I don't feel it's going to happen. So if there's an injunction, there's an injunction. We'll follow the law. I mean, I'm not going to do anything that's illegal. Is that what you're asking me?
No. It's just a question of risk, financial risk. But
Well,
you're right.
to me, the financial risk is if we go ahead with it. If we don't go ahead with it and we stall it and we keep doing this stalling thing, it ends up costing a lot more money in the end. So I'm not sure what your issue is with that.
I think she's asking about risk management. If there's so your gauge on the legal issues surrounding this are low enough risk that we should move forward because the possibilities are less that there'll be an injunction that stops the project versus.
I don't see the risk as being as high as you do, I guess, is what I'm
Great.
trying to
And I
say.
think that's what we're asking.
The risk, to me, is a stall tactic. Is to get us to stop, and I understand that. But to me, that's what it is. Is it going to happen? If there's an injunction, of course we would stop. And if there's a possibility that the county will not put that road through, I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. Now, why haven't I asked that question? Because I was told that they wouldn't. I've talked to Tammy Bainey. Now, am I missing something here? You're talking to staff. I'm not. I'm talking to the county commissioners. Now, I was told that they would not stop it and that it was imperative that we put that line through there. Now, that's the information I'm going on.
Right.
Okay?
Thanks,
I
Kathy.
understand.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I'm looking at this water project as a 50-year plan, okay? To me, over the long run, I think it's imperative that we put that line through to eliminate a surface water project for gravity flow, to put in wells that's going to cost money, a lot more money. I understand that there's people that are saying that that's not the fact, but to me, it is. I don't want my grandkids here in 50 years having to pay higher water rates because we've gone to all groundwater. We're going to lose an excellent source of water. We're going to have 2 sources, which is surface water as well as groundwater. I live along that river. My water probably comes from that, and it's very good. It's very pure. We have the water rights. I don't want to give up those water rights as a city. I don't want to give up that surface water project. So maybe I am prejudiced in the fact that I believe that we need a dual system. You would never give up a surface water project. Any city that does that is very, very foolish in my mind. Those pipes are over 100 years old. They need to be replaced and they need to be refurbished. Now, we can do that. We can give up our water rights. We can give up that surface water project. But I can tell you what, in 50 years, it's going to cost the next generation a whole lot more money than it is going to be costing this generation. So I believe in the project. I believe it needs to be done. And I think it's imperative that we do it now. Now, if we have a legal injunction, of course I'm going to stop. If the county's not wanting to put that road through, of course I will look at that again. Those are all factors I'm working under.
Wow, what a subject. A lot of issues, all mixed up. First, let me say something I've said publicly for about a year. We've got the world's greatest water to our house 24 hours a day. And I'll tell you what, I have to agree with Kathy. A city would have to be foolish when given the opportunity to have 2 sources of water to give that up without a fight. There are communities across the United States barely with 1. Just went to a seminar yesterday. We were talking about how China has to, we have to do work here, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was amazed, and that's not drinking water necessarily, but for development purposes, and I won't go into that. But the thing is, I am probably more aware, or at least willing to admit in public, that we are in an economic crisis and the cycle of debt has got to stop. So I'm going to be voting against any bond that comes across my desk, unless it's an emergency situation. So I probably already told most of you here what you want to hear as far as the financing. We've got to find alternative ways to finance things. And that forces us to slow down our decision making, except for one thing. This is a 4-part project, as we all know. The part about the pipes, we're talking about pipes that are actually closer to 80 years old, I believe, the 12-inch pipe, and 60 years old, that is the 15-inch pipe that will be replaced with 30-inch pipe. Do I have that right?
You could have.
Okay. That's critical. If we all remember last summer, we had an old pipe burst downtown, and that is also a very big concern. We do have some water and sewer infrastructure issues that we have to look at. But again, I think I'm the only candidate you're going to hear anybody say that we need an automatic vote against any bond. We've gotten ourselves in the wrong way of the cycle of debt, creating a cycle of debt, perpetuating a cycle of debt. And if we can't get that changed at the national level, we can at least do it here in our home.